Minnesota Wild are red hot to start the season. Don't miss out on seeing them in action. Tickets are available now at wild.com/hockey tickets. That's wild.com/hockey tickets to get your tickets today.
Clean up the mess. I've had several messes here today, including the end of the Bears-Lions game. Here was my issue. Everybody said Eberflus, it's his fault. He needs to be fired, which he was, because he totally botched the last possession of the game for the Bears. They were down to 36 seconds left in the football game. They are down 3 points. They have a 2nd and 20 at the Detroit 35 with about 40-some seconds to go in the game. They're in the shotgun formation. Caleb Williams is sacked at the Detroit 41 for a 6-yard loss. It was the age of Za'Darius. Za'Darius made the sack. At that point, there was 36 seconds left. The clock was running. Most people say you need to use your time out there, set up a play, and you can't spike the ball because the next play is going to be 4th down. That was 3rd down, or because the next play is going to be 3rd down. So if you call a timeout, call a play, throw the ball on 3rd down, complete it to get yourself into field goal range, you can't spike it at that point because it's 4th down. You're going to have to rush the field goal team out onto the field, which has been done many times, but this field goal unit has had a lot of trouble the last few weeks. The Vikings blocked a field goal attempt, or was it an extra point? And
the Packers.
What's that?
The Packers did the week before for the game.
But the Vikings did too, though.
I know. I'm just adding on.
No, but what I'm saying, what I was asking is, was the Vikings an extra point or a field goal? I don't recall.
I thought it was a field goal.
Okay, and I think the same thing with the Packers. It was a field goal attempt, and that was blocked. So, if I'm the head coach of the team, I don't want to rush my kicker out there. He's got enough on his plate already. The kid can't get the ball up over the line. So at that point, if your quarterback's smart, and this is where you could blame the coach, you should have had a play ready to go in case that happens. Don't these people plan ahead? If you complete the pass or get a sack or an incompletion, what are we going to do on the next down? You call another play because you've got to get yourself into closer field goal range. Then you use your final, hopefully you connect for 8 or 10 yards. Then you call the timeout and you very calmly, coolly, and casually bring your field goal unit onto the field. When they got down to the 12-second point, they were doomed. There was nothing else they could do. So now that we've got that cleared up,
and the quarterback should have never let it get to that point.
That's exactly right.
It didn't appear to be the play got in super late. Like he was just standing there back there, like snap the ball.
Yes, that's exactly right. So there you have the answer for that. The other thing I did want to talk about before we'll do Wild on the other side of the break, Tim, because I know you're chomping at the bit too, and I think both the Vikings and the Wild are both really, they're sort of, now it's much earlier in the season for the Wild than it is the Vikings, but I think they're both kind of on that same trajectory where I don't think most people, including myself, expected, I said the Vikings would go 9-8 at best. Well, they've already eclipsed it. Do they have 9 wins right now, or do they have 10
now? They have 10 now.
They have 10 now. So they've eclipsed what I thought would have been their high water mark. The Wild, and I don't think I was alone here, Teneby. I think most Wild observers, maybe except for the most fervent of fans, I think most would have said, well, it's another one of those years where we're under that dark cloud of that Parisi-Suter contract, whatever that is. Salary cap issue, and that we got some nice pieces, but it's going to be another year or two. But we have to wait till next year to really start seeing the results. Guess we're talking Wild now, so why not?
Well, by the way, going into the season,
yeah,
Vikings, Wolves, Wild. Who would have thought Wild and Vikings would be two of the best teams in their leagues, and the Wolves would be the team on the outside of the playoffs looking in?
That's correct. And
no one would have guessed.
And again, it is early for both the Wolves and the Wild, but certainly. I think with the way the Wolves getting to the Western Conference Finals last year, I think hopes were higher for the Wolves than they were for the Wild or the Vikings. I don't think it's any question, Tennessee. I think we can. Is it safe yet to bring back the nickname Skatriots, or is it too early for that? I know that you declared then the Skatriots back after the Suter Parisi trade. It never worked out. Meaning, I think most people understand we were calling the Patriots were a dynasty, winning, was it 6 or 7 big games? I think it was 6, and then Brady won one on his own with Tampa Bay. So they were the Patriots, and you cleverly came up with Skatriots, which I think we all liked. It certainly didn't turn out that way, but
not quite.
Are we
but
ready?
We're about to begin the dynasty now.
Maybe we are. We're tied atop the NFL with 36 points, and as you mentioned, because we have a game at hand over Winnipeg, you could say we have the most points. Kaprizov, his 38 points leads the National Hockey League. In our most recent victory, was that an overtime win over Nashville?
Yeah, they beat Nashville 3-2 in overtime.
He had a goal and an assist.
Beautiful setup on the overtime winner.
Yes, correct. Gustafsson is playing as good as any goalie in the league.
Best goalie in hockey.
He is tops in goals against at 2.05, and he's top in save percentage at .929, a 929 save percentage. Other players we've talked about it are making contributions, including Boldy and well, you know it better than I do. You could tell me about the contributions from all the different players.
Yeah, Boldy's 40th in the league in scoring. He's got 24 points in 24 games.
Mm-hmm. The Wild made a trade for David, how did you pronounce it? Juracek. A 6th overall pick back in 2022.
Yeah, not that long ago.
Because he was available for trade, my guess is he hasn't quite lived up to the expectations or had the kind of results you would expect from a 6th overall pick. Would that be fair?
I mean, he's still so young,
right?
That I don't know what results you're expecting. You know, to your point, though, the fact that we're 2 years into this and Columbus has already given up on him is a little concerning.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're just looking from a pure prospect standpoint, drafted 6th overall, has produced at every level other than the NHL. Even at the AHL, he's producing very well offensively, produced at the World Juniors level. So, you know, he's still at that age where he could still be on that track, on that trajectory.
He is something like 6'4".
He's a big boy.
He's a right-handed shooter, something that we coveted, right? A right-handed defensive shooter. Is that correct? And a big defenseman, right?
Generally speaking, it's harder to find right shot defensemen.
Okay.
So, and for the Wild forever have not had, I mean, they've had Spurgeon and now they've got Faber who shoots right-handed. But like in terms of like a right shot power play guy, it seems like we've always been trying to find that guy. We've never had it.
Did we trade our top defensive prospect, though? What I read was he was our top Damon Hunt.
Damon Hunt.
Damon?
I would say he was our top defense prospect, but I think he'll be a quality NHL defenseman. But I think there's limited upside there, right? Like he'll play in the league. He'll be a quality player, but he's never going to be a game-breaking defenseman.
Did you say all of this over again?
He's a quality defenseman, and he was our top defensive prospect, but he will never. And actually, I don't know if I agree with him being our top defense prospect because the kid they drafted last year, I think, will be that guy, Zia Boyan. But in terms of in our current system, we're not calling Faber a prospect anymore. If you just look at guys at the Iowa Wild, yes, he was our top defenseman in Iowa. But I think he's just going to be a relatively mobile defensive defenseman. I don't think there's a lot of offensive upside with him.
He was traded, was it 4 picks? Next year's is a protected first round, right?
I thought it was a first, a third, and a fourth plus Damon Hunt.
Right.
And then we got
it's 3 picks.
We got a 5th back.
Right. And is next year's is a first rounder protected, though? Is that correct? And it doesn't.
The odds of that being
not going to matter much because we're going to be hoisting the cup.
Yeah.
So you can have the 32nd overall pick or 30th, however many teams there are in the National Hockey League. tweeted this out, Tenneby. I felt as though that. So, how do you pronounce his name again?
David Juracek.
Juracek.
It's the year of the check.
It's the year of the check. He seems to be the hockey equivalent of Sam Darnold. Why don't we send him over to KOC at TCO? You think about it. If KOC takes him under his wing for a couple of weeks.
He'd be a pretty poised hockey player, is what I would know.
He'd be a poised hockey player, and he'd be getting a game puck. Do they hand out game pucks?
Well, the Wild do hockey? Like this big chain that says hard on it, as in like the hardest worker of the game. Okay. So whenever they win it, they hand it off. They put it on video. The guy makes a quick speech.
They should do a game puck, though. So that because the guy gets a game ball to put in his trophy room. Wouldn't you like to have a game puck for doing something special? And,
you and I should do a game microphone after every show.
I don't think we'd be giving many of those away. Let's, you're getting ripped by the. I want you to think about your response to this. Funny how Tena hates on the player we traded away. He's such a PA. So now you're sounding like PA. You love the trade. The kid that we just got is going to be a star.
First off, I've said nothing positive about Juracek yet.
Oh, okay.
And I said Damon Hunt is going to be a quality player. Okay. Like, he's going to be an NHL player.
All right.
I think he's fine.
All right. I'm just reading the text messages.
He's not going to be a game breaker, and that's not being negative. He's still a good player. He's still quality. I'd like to have him here, but...
You like the trade because of the potential upside.
It's hard to know because I haven't been watching David Juracek. I remember watching his highlights when he got drafted. I haven't been watching his game intimately.
Yeah.
But I understand why the trade was made.
All right, very good. We'll take a break. We'll come back and discuss some more Wild and some Vikings talk. Other side of the break, Common Man program on the...
Get ready for Kirko Chains and the Falcons to come to town this Sunday by joining us at the Friday Football Feast in Savage this week. Doors open at 8 a.m. Stop by for great food and drinks, nonstop football talk, and your chance to win great prizes, including a full-sized Winter Warrior all-white Vikings helmet. Get the full details now, KFAN.com. Keyword calendar.
We talked earlier about the Gophers' regular season-ending victory over hated Wisconsin. They bring the Axe back for the first time, and I think... 3-4 years. I don't remember the last time we had the Axe, but we bring it back from Madison with, I believe the final was something like 24-7. Real nice game. The Golden Gophers, I watched it start to finish, and I think I said this earlier, Tenneby, regardless of where you think where the program...
We had the Axe in 2022 and 2021.
We did?
So
okay.
Last year was the only year in the last 4 that we haven't had it.
Seriously. I thought we hadn't had it in years. Anyway, it just feels like a long time.
Well, from 2004 to 2017, we did not have it.
That's what that long stretch was. So, wherever you think PJ Fleck has the Gophers football program, whether you think whether you like where it is, where it's going, where it's at, whatever the case may be, I do. I find the product more aesthetically pleasing. I like when you mix
100%.
Mix the pass and the run, and I think it's been more successful. They've given a number of quality teams this year run for the money. Now, again, I'm not talking moral victories. I'm just telling you, you're playing competitive games. There was a time we would get crushed by some of the better teams. They could have beat Penn State. They should have beat Michigan, even though they're not a ranked team. Who else did we have? Iowa. That game was ours to be had. So
yeah.
We've even the losses were entertaining games. Meanwhile, my youngest boy, baby brother Pita, goes to the Ohio State University, and I asked him if he wanted to transfer after Saturday's result. He said he can live with it. Second-ranked Ohio State was a 23.5-point favorite to the school up north, their hated rival. The game was played at the Ohio State. Final score, Michigan 13, Ohio State 10. Ryan Day's the head coach of the Ohio State Buckeyes. Being the Buckeyes or the Michigan coach, I know they're both highly coveted jobs. Are they even worth it? Like, for instance, I think I saw the record for Ryan Day against all other games. He's like 41-4. I think that's Big Ten. 41-4. He's 1-4 against Michigan, the school up north. And that's really the only game that the students, fans, alumni, student body, cheerleaders, mascots, that seems to be the only game they care about. Doesn't matter how well you do, you lose that game. He might be on the hot seat. The coach, I think it was yesterday or maybe it was earlier today, was given the old vote of confidence. Generally, after a vote of confidence, usually a day or two later, they dismiss you. I don't think they would do that now. Their season certainly isn't over. More than likely, even with a loss to unranked school up north, they only have 2 losses, and the other was, and I think the loss to Oregon was that a relatively close game? That was early in the season too. Was that week 2, week 3? And I think it was competitive. I don't think Oregon blew Ohio State out. Maybe they did.
32-31.
Yeah, okay, there you go.
Lost by a point.
So you lose by a point to number 1. You go undefeated the rest of the way, and then you beat a number of ranked teams along the way. I think they're getting an invite to that 12-team tournament, don't you think?
I would think so.
So I don't think you'd fire your coach now until, they would be cutting off your nose to spite your face. About a week ago.
Going into the week, they were like number 2.
Yeah.
So it's going to be hard to drop from 2 to outside the 12.
So about a week ago, he had I did not know this. His father committed suicide when he was 9 years old. He was raised by his mother. He said during an interview last week that losing to Michigan is not as bad as losing his dad, but it's bad. He said it's bad.
You've got to be kidding me.
And he said it's really hard on his family. And if it's really that bad, I would just go coach somewhere else. Get
a new career.
Well, yeah, it's like, I don't want to do some, even though I am a social commentator, you can look at the Forest Lake Alumni Directory, look up my name, and it'll say social commentator. I really don't want to turn this into social commentary. But sports, and I know it's your life, it's what you do for a living. But man, at the end of the day, how many times have we talked about this, Timmy? It's just entertainment. The fans are nuts. We know that. The alumni are nuts. You know how much money they have in nil? $20 million. They have a $20 million payroll at Ohio State is what I read, if that's correct. I think that's the highest.
Surprised that's it.
I think that's the highest nil. Well, it'll grow from there. We're just in the infancy of
yeah.
That. They have $20 million. Then the worst part was, so after the game, I looked like they were going to steal it too. Michigan's the school up north's about to go in for a score, and their quarterback throws a pick like in the end zone. Ohio State guy picks it off. It looked like Michigan was going to wrap up the game and seal it. Then Ohio State gets the ball back. They could do nothing offensively. They have 2 of the best running backs in college football. Nothing. They couldn't run the ball. I don't know if they play tight. When your coach is 1-4, you don't want to put it all on the coach, right? But there's something, especially last year, I think the school up north won the national championship under Jimmy Harbaugh, went undefeated. They won the game, but I think it was really close, if I remember correctly. Now you're playing a Michigan team that was a school up north team that was 6-5. I don't know how you lose it. Then the worst part is the nonsense afterwards.
Yeah.
So, and it was Baker Mayfield, you're right. Apparently, he thinks, nope, you got to let boys be boys. Let the boys play, I think is what he said. So, words are, it's devastating to lose the game. You're college kids, right? Apparently, this has become, is in vogue the right word I'm saying? This has become standard operating procedure, apparently, during rivalry games. If you win and you're the road team, you take your flag of your school, you try to plant it in the
On the logo at center field.
At 50-yard line. Of course, kids being kids, the Ohio State University players take umbrage with this. Now there's pushing and shoving. The kid who intercepted the pass for Ohio State, that looked like he saved the game for him, he did momentarily. I think he was the one, I think it was him. He went over and he tore the flag off the pole. More pushing and shoving. Fist fight, fists are thrown. Police have to spray pepper spray. I saw 2 Michigan guys crying. I thought they were crying with joy. They were crying because they'd been pepper sprayed.
Yes.
And it wasn't just at the Michigan, the school up north versus Ohio game. It says here, later in the afternoon, NC State secured its 6th win in bowl eligibility with a thrilling 35-30 victory over North Carolina. After the game, a crowd of Wolfpack players tried to plant a flag at the 50-yard line. Somehow, North Carolina wide receiver J.J. Jones came away with the banner and tossed it aside as a scrum formed on the field. Credit to Arizona State for at least being a little bit more inventive. I'm reading from a CBSSports.com story. Following their 49-7 win against Zona, Sun Devils players planted a pitchfork in the middle of the Arizona's logo because they're the Sun Devils, right? So they used a pitchfork. Again, Arizona wide receiver Montana Lemonosius Craig did try to take the pitchfork away. And then Florida capped an impressive turnaround season under Billy Napier with a win against Florida State. And in sticking with the theme, the Gators then plunged a flag into the field inside Doak Campbell, and a scuffle ensued there as well. I think the head coach of the visiting team that wins needs to tell his players don't. Now, I know I'm going to get pushback. You know, people like to get us going. Mm-hmm. Nope, that's what you do. If you can't handle it, win the game. Stop them from planting that flag by winning the game. It's just, you've won the game. You vanquished your opponents. There's no need to stick a flag. You've already rubbed it in with all of your obnoxious celebrations after every single score, every single stop, every single. I think more time is taken up on celebrations of scores and sacks in big plays. If you total up how much time is wasted, it's probably enough to fill another quarter and a half of football. Just stop with the nonsense. That's my social commentary. We'll take a break and we'll come back with more after this here on The Fan.
Man.
KFAN and the Minnesota Vikings will be live from Shields in Eden Prairie tomorrow for our annual Toys for Tots broadcast presented by Unreal. We'll be collecting toys and donations. 4 Toys for Tots, 5:30 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. We need your help. You'll have the chance to enter to win great Vikings prizes, all while seeing your favorite shows live. Be sure to join us at Shields and Eden Prairie, benefiting Toys for Tots. More at KFAN.com, keyword toys.
Is a jailbreak goal tend to be a goal where a shorthanded goal frees the player from the penalty box? That's what it says. Sarah Spain, the game with Sarah Spain, was talking about a jailbreak goal. What is a jailbreak in hockey? The players inside the inner circle try to... This doesn't make any sense. I just heard her say the first jailbreak goal of the season, and I don't know what a jailbreak goal is. And I thought she was talking hockey. I suppose it could have been football, but I'm not sure. So before the head coach entertained us with his day after the game news conference started about 1:15 roughly, we were talking about.
Oh, I see. So women's hockey has a new rule in the PWHL that if you score while shorthanded, it'll free the player from the penalty box.
Oh.
That's never been a rule at any other level of hockey.
Okay. So it was a jailbreak. Because
you score, so then your penalty's now over.
You get out of the sin bin.
Yes.
As we used to call it back in the good old days. Sam Darnold Tenneby has had a terrific year for the soon-to-be big game world champion Minnesota Vikings. I know there have been the nitpickers. What about all those interceptions? He does lead. I believe he still does. Even though he hasn't turned the ball over the past 2 games, I still think he has more turnovers than any other starting quarterback in the National Football League this year. But record speaks for itself. We are 10-2. Have we won 10 games now?
Yes, 10-2.
We are 10-2. He has been instrumental in a number of the wins, including again yesterday, starting with that. I think it was the last drive of the third quarter. We have the numbers for you. The last 3 possessions, he was 12 of 17, 154 yards and 2 tutties. He was instrumental in leading the Vikings. He has help. He's got guys catching the ball. He's got guys blocking for him, and guys calling the plays. But he was very good. We were talking about Spotrac. Spotrac deals with the financials of the National Football League, it seems to me, including contracts and the like. Hashtag Vikings QB Sam Darnold's market value currently sits at $32.4 million, according to Spotrac. He's set to be an unrestricted free agent this offseason. Vikings signed Sam Darnold before the draft. Is that correct? They signed him before the draft. And the reason they did that, they were parting ways with Kirk Cousins, of course. And I don't think they had a lot of faith in the Mullins character as being, I mean, we saw Mullins play. He's got a howitzer hanging from his right arm. He can spin it. He can complete passes. He has a penchant for turning the ball over. So the Vikings knew they were going to draft a quarterback. We're hoping to draft a quarterback, their franchise quarterback in the first round. But I guess a couple of reasons. You don't know if you're going to get him, so you got to have something to go with. And then if they did, maybe they weren't sure if he'd be ready to play right out of the gate like some rookie quarterbacks are. Others ride the bench. So they signed Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold signed, draft comes around, Vikings move up 1 spot. They get J.J. McCarthy from the University of Michigan, who won a natty with Jimmy Harbaugh last season. I thought somebody, when somebody was saying I should apologize to Sam Darnold, somebody else texted. These people remember everything. He says he thinks the reason that texter may have been chiding me and demanding an apology is because I was suggesting you may as well start J.J. McCarthy. I would have started J.J. McCarthy to start the season had he been healthy. I would have just went with the rookie quarterback. Baptism by fire, man. Go in there and play. Let's play some football. Now, if he looks totally in over his head during film sessions, training camps, and preseason play, okay. Yeah, probably want to have him watch from the sideline for a while. If I remember, he played 1 preseason game and was pretty good, wasn't he?
Very good, yes.
He was really good. So, yeah, why wouldn't you want to go with the future quarterback now? But that doesn't take away what I said about Sam Darnold when they signed him. And we've gone over this 100 times. Tend to be hundreds.
Hundreds?
Hundreds of times. Everybody said, best spot for a rookie quarterback is Minnesota for all the aforementioned reasons we've gone over 100 times. Hundreds?
Hundreds?
Hundreds of times. I said, well, why not the same for Sam Darnold? And it has worked for Sam Darnold. I brought this up a couple of times. The coach actually said, when asked, do you think you can get more out of Sam Darnold than he's shown so far in his 3 previous stops? He said, yeah, I think I can do that. And he has done that.
Yes.
You got to give him a lot of the credit. So I think most people still felt, though, that Sam Darnold is a caretaker. He is a 1-year, hold the job down until J.J. McCarthy comes back. Do you still believe that now, Tenneby? Do you still think that no matter what, the Vikings are going with J.J. McCarthy next year and would not consider re-signing Sam Darnold? Because Sam, if he continues to play like this, he's not going to say, I really like it here and I owe everything to the Vikings, so I'm going to sign for $10 million again, and I won't mind being the backup quarterback behind J.J. McCarthy. I don't think that's going to happen. Are you ready to say, I believe enough in J.J. McCarthy, even though we've not seen him other than that 1 preseason game, And we believe enough in the quarterback whisperer that it doesn't matter who his quarterback is, he's going to build him and mold him into a top quarterback? Or do you say, this Darnold guy's been really, really good. He's near the top in a lot of different quarterbacking categories, and right now he's 10-2. Do you still think there's a possibility the Vikings will entertain the possibility of keeping him as their starting quarterback next year?
I think this is a topic we could talk about all week. I think it's a topic we'll be talking about during the offseason. I will say my opinion on this is subject to change.
Right.
If Darnold keeps looking this way through a playoff run, if you get to a big game, I may change my mind on this. Part of my allure of liking Sam Darnold is he is doing it for $10 million right now. When he gets to free agency, that price tag's going up considerably. There's going to be a team out there somewhere that's going to offer him starting quarterback money, assuming he doesn't completely fall apart.
Right.
But from what we've seen so far, he's going to get an offer in free agency that is 3 years, $90+ million.
Yeah, Spotrac says right now his value is 32.4. We're only 12 games into the season.
Go. So I like Sam Darnold for $10 million. Do I like him for $32.5 million? And now some of those guys that we were able to build that defense with, we can't re-sign and extend. Now I don't like them as much. And it's hard to know because we haven't seen enough of J.J. McCarthy. Is it possible J.J. McCarthy can give you the exact same thing Sam Darnold can? And he'll be on a rookie contract next year? I think that's very possible with, as you mentioned, with KOC. So I like Sam Darnold. I just don't want to get into the free agent spending. And then now you're shutting out JJ from having a shot as well, because you're going to be paying Sam Darnold that much. And Sam Darnold with a team around him that doesn't have the money available that we did this year makes me a little uneasy, because I'm still not sure he's the guy who can carry everything on his own and elevate those around him. I still think to a certain extent he needs to have a lot of support.
Let me ask you another question. Are we absolutely convinced O'Connell's the quarterback whisperer, like Midas, everything he touches turns to gold? Why are we convinced that? I don't think he did anything to help Kirk Cousins. Maybe he did. I don't know. Kirk Cousins.
I thought Kirk was better with him, but not considerably, because he had been productive throughout his career. But I thought Kirk's best years were with KOC, and Kirk's not doing well this year.
Pasternaut wasn't very good. Well, what happened to the Midas touch with Pasternaut? Matter of fact, the more he worked with Pasternaut, the worse he got. Remember, he didn't even know the playbook to start the season. Who was the other guy we used also? Mullins?
Mullins, yeah.
Was there a third we used too? Was it just
Jared Hall had a starter too.
Yeah. I didn't see any of those quarterbacks. Now you can say, well, they don't have the same kind of talent. Well, if he's quarterback whisperer.
You could say Pasternaut came in off a plane and 3 days later was in a game, right? Like it's not. Yeah. He didn't have time to work with them over an off season.
Right. But the more he worked with them, and they certainly didn't see enough in him to say, because if you'll remember when Pasternaut had that first game, wasn't he pretty good in the second one too? We had fans.
The first half of the second game.
We had fans demanding we sign him.
They wanted to pay him.
They wanted to pay him.
Yes.
Because we've got, it's Pasternaut. So, and look, I'm just playing devil's advocate here. I do think KOC is a very good coach. As a matter of fact, I really thought they may have missed the boat when they didn't sign Harbaugh. I thought they were going to sign Harbaugh. Harbaugh thought they were going to sign Harbaugh, and I think a lot of people did. And when they signed KOC, I said, okay, I guess, we'll see, but he is an unknown quantity as a head coach. He'd not been a head coach at any level that I can recall. You didn't know what you were getting with Harbaugh. It might have been old school, but he won a national championship in college. He went to a big game in the pros, and I think his pro record is, prior to him leaving and going to Michigan, was spectacular as a coach. So the guy knows his X's and O's, right? He's a good coach. So I did question whether they made the right decision, but it certainly looks like they did. But I still to me, I still am not. I think he's a really good coach, and it's trending in the right direction. I got to see more.
Well, it sounds like he might be getting a contract extension soon where he's going to get paid like double up on what he's making right now. So they might have made a mistake by not extending him earlier.
He's making about $5 right now, I think. They figured that he'll probably double that. I mean, the rap on him is generally now the last couple of games it hasn't worked that way, but as the games have gone on, the offense has been less productive. Deeper into the game we go, the offense has become more stagnant. Is that him getting out chest matched by the other coach? Now, the last couple of games, they played very well in the second half. So maybe it's just a game-by-game situation. That's the other thing that's always hard when you're analyzing coaches or players, whatever the coordinators, whatever the case may be. So many games, I think, depend upon matchups. If you're playing a team like the Cardinals, that defense was pretty good yesterday. Mm-hmm. That's a team that can get pressure on a club. I'm still stunned. I'm delighted that he did, but I'm stunned that Gannon didn't go for a touchdown on 4th and goal from the 4. Even if you don't get it, the Vikings are sitting at the 4-yard line. You start blitzing again. You show blitz. You might be, remember when did the Gophers, didn't they get a safety on Rutgers deep in their own territory? There's safety sitting all over that with that pass rush. We were having trouble. How many times did Darnold get sacked yesterday? Was it?
Seemed like every key third down in the first half.
Was it 5 times? I think it was 5 sacks. And a couple of times he just got obliterated. Speaking of that, did you see Lawrence get obliterated by that dude?
Yes.
What the hell's he doing? Why do these guys? You're not going to tell me that he didn't do that intentionally. You see him sliding like he slid into second base on hitting a double, and you decide you're going to put your shoulder down and give it to him in the head. And you saw him do that. What do they call that? Where his hands, there's some type of a term when you know a guy's been knocked unconscious. His right arm or his left arm starts doing something wacky, and that's a sure sign that he's been knocked out. Mm-hmm. It's like...
Well, he also led with his forearm, too. So, like, I get there's a lot of bang-bang plays with the quarterback where you're starting to jump at him and dive at him, and then he slides at the last second. It's hard. But even once you see him sliding, you need to try to, like, twist your body or get your arm out of the way. He just put his forearm right into his head. I
mean, I'm with you on I think we're pretty much on the same page regarding Darnold. I don't think it's just for me cut and dry that nope, no matter what Sam does, see you later because we can't afford you. And you and I have talked about this. I feel like how you put a team together, my opinion on it has changed. I used to be, got to have your franchise quarterback, got to have him. Got to have that Pat Mahomes. Well, if you can get Pat Mahomes,
yes,
or Josh Allen, or maybe 1 or 2 other guys, yeah, I'll take my chances with not having, I got to have a little lesser of a defense as far as salaries. Got to coach some guys up. Hope my coordinator can have some exotic blitz packages so that I don't have to pay a lot of money for defensive players because I don't have them. But if you can get a quarterback, wasn't Burrow, he's re-signed, but didn't he get to a big game during his rookie
second year?
Yeah. So
got hurt his first year, but yeah.
If fencing position is what they're calling it, tend to be the fencing position. I thank the people that have texted me the answer to my question. But it is nice to have a quarterback that's making $10 million a year or less. What does a rookie make? What does that pay? That's even less, right, than $10 million?
Single digits, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, in a perfect world, that's what you want. But I'll tell you this. For the Viking fans that love what's going on now, and they're willing to say, bon voyage to Sam Darnold. I mean, I think all bets are off if Sam Darnold is instrumental and wins the Super Bowl MVP,
yes,
right?
Yeah.
What do you can't.
Then you got to
I think you have
pay that man his money.
Yeah, I think you do. Unless you can say, hey, we finally got our big game trophy. Now let's go get one with another guy. I mean, you could do that, I guess. It seems, I don't think any franchise would think of doing that, I don't think. But let's say, look, Vikings are going to make postseason play. Let's say they get out of the first round, but then lose the second game. And we decide to go, that's enough. We're going to go. And what if McCarthy ends up being just, he's just okay. And then Sam goes on to flourish elsewhere. And that's why. That's why the general manager and the coaches get paid the big bucks, because those are their decisions.
All I know is when McCarthy did get hurt and the quarterback whisperer had to go talk about it the next day, he said, Vikings fans, we found your franchise quarterback. So he might already know. I don't think you say that unless you have relative confidence in him being the guy. I love you, Sam. Appreciate all you've done this year. Go get paid somewhere else.
Seen a lot of coaches over the years have a lot of confidence in quarterbacks and players that it didn't pan out to be.
What if Sam Darnold is Alex Smith and J.J. McCarthy is Pat Mahomes? And like, well, great. Alex Smith was good.
Right.
You won some games for us. We got Pat Mahomes waiting in the wings here.
I remember people telling me that Suter and Parisi were those guys. Well, I remember that. Correa was our Royce Lewis.
Buxton.
Yeah, that was going to do it for us. Julius Randle, Ant, DiVincenzo, and Gobert were going to take us to the promised land.
You're awfully negative.
I'm just telling you. Better be careful what you wish for. That's all I can tell you. All I know is we're 10-2, and the Vikings know where to find the Lions. When they open their door, they'll be there on the front porch, and the Vikings welcome them to their front porch. Should be a good conclusion.
This offseason will be Darnold Dilemma.
It's a Darnold Dilemma. It should be a great season the rest of the way through. Tenby, thanks for having me.
Hey, great job.
You as well. We enjoyed a visit with you today. See you tomorrow at 12 noon for live from Shields and Eden Prairie for Toys for Tots. Stick around. Big Ticket JG there next year on The Fan.
And good night, Mrs. Calabash, wherever you are.
Listen back to any of Common Man's programs by podcasting on the iHeartRadio app or KFAN.com.